Good morning. How is everybody this morning? Good. Just to let everybody know, this morning we will be filming the community coffee, and we'll be posting that on the website. And so if you need to go back and listen to anything we said, comb your hair. There we go. No bad words. There we go. Again, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Brett Martin, president of CSA. We have a fairly good agenda this morning. I'll be going through some updates for everybody. Then Toby will come up and talk about security and give everybody some updates on that. We've got Kerry Corbett here, who's going to talk about the Ocean Course renovation, and he'll be doing a presentation for you as well. Then Joe Kernan give you an update on traffic and the town and our interactions with the town and the traffic task force that the town has set up. David Henderson is going to talk about the Forest Preserve and fundraisers and activities that we're having there. And then Jennifer Loesch will talk about events coming up this spring. So hopefully get you all updated on everything that's happening. But without further ado, if we can move on, Tracy. Couple things. The Board of Directors passed or adopted the conceptual long-range plan at the last board meeting. We have posted the presentation that Michael Tucker did last community coffee on the website, and we will be posting the conceptual plan, long-range conceptual plan, on the website as well today. So any of you that are interested in that can take a look at some of the any additional details that you may not have seen at the presentation. I think we tried to cover all those. I'm doing some follow-up on that as well. We had a lot of questions come in about the plan, and we're sending out answers to those people that have sent in questions. I'm also setting up meetings to meet with those folks. A couple of the questions that came in were really related to more details, but also one interesting comment that it was across a couple of different comments was that residents need to be involved. And certainly I want to let everybody know that there were nobody, to my knowledge, nobody who was involved in the development of the long-range strategic plan was not a resident. So that was absolutely a critical component of it. That's who was developing it and how it got developed. It will be evolving over time, and I want to make sure everybody understands that as well. So nothing is set in stone. We still have a lot of things to do and a lot of investigation to do, as well as really objectives that staff and a lot of our committees, as well as the community, need to be active in and help us really develop more detail on that plan. Legacy Oaks. Oh, I'm sorry. Update on the beach boardwalk. I was asked to talk about a specific thing that's happening along close to Turtle Lane. There's a new boardwalk being built by a property owner, and there's been some input, both positive and negative, on the status of that property and that boardwalk. We're working through a lot of the details, and as some of you may have experienced in your life experiences, we're working with the town and the Office of Coastal Resource Management and our own ARB, as well as the Beach Trust itself and the foundation, to determine what kinds of things need to happen on future in the existing boardwalk. As some of you may know, some things from the town have changed, and they've made some decisions that have basically made it more lenient. And the existing boardwalk was not very popular with the neighbors, so we're trying to resolve all of that, and we hopefully will have more information for that in the future, and we'll continue to work diligently on what's the best resolution for all of those concerned. Legacy Oaks project. Is John here? John Parsons? John. John has really done a great job with the Legacy Oaks project, and we'll be developing a map for that and distributing it so you can see where all these oaks are. I think we had it highlighted on the presentation. The presentation is on the website as well. A lot of work has already been done. Those of you who have been by Fraser Circle, looking into the interior of Fraser Circle, I've gotten a lot of comments on that. Of course, it's very visible oak that we have in the community, and it's really been amazing to see that transformation and how nice that oak stands out now with some of the other trees are removed and some of the limbing and that has been done to take care of that oak and preserve that oak. So hopefully more of that will be coming up, and we'll certainly keep you posted on the progress of all of that and anything additional. And I think we have some benches that we're still looking at, correct, John, that need to be added to some of those locations. Upcoming blood drive, just an announcement, March 9th, Monday, March 9th, 10:30 to 1:30 at the community center. We will have the bus here again for a blood drive. Encourage everybody that can or wants to participate at that time. And then just to let everybody know, we have posted online a waste hauler survey. It's been about a year now, a little bit since the new waste haulers have been in place in Sea Pines, and wanted to get your feedback on how that's going for you personally. The committee that originally, or task force that originally addressed this issue a year ago is getting back together to review this and see if there's some improvements that we need to make regarding the waste hauling, and that committee will be coming back, and Paul Crunkleton will be working with that committee to, there you are, Paul, to address whatever issues are still being addressed or need to be addressed from the results of that survey. So with that, I will be up here for questions at the end, but I know that Carrie and Toby need to run right after their presentation, so I thought I'd leave my questions till the end and come back to those. So Tracy, and I think Toby, you ready? Come on up.
Thank you, Brett. Good morning. I hate to start this morning off, but it's going to be very brief. I need to let you know we have had 4 burglaries over the last 3 months inside the plantation. All the burglaries that we've had have been forcible entries, where they're kicking the doors in to get in or breaking windows to get inside of these units. Heritage Villas, Swallowtail, Inland Harbor, and we had one on Plantation Drive. We're working with the Sheriff's Office involving these particular cases. We ask, please be aware of your surroundings. If you see something, please let us know. We had 2 inside of Heritage Villas, which is a little odd that 2 different buildings and the doors were actually kicked in. So if you know of some information, whatever, please, by all means, get that back to us. Just a quick short update. Wine Fest, those of you who are not aware, starting next week, March 14th, a Saturday, Wine Fest is going to be held in Sea Pines at Harbortown. Leading up to the week, and I believe it's Tuesday, starting Tuesday of next week, there's going to be some smaller events leading up to the public tasting, which is on Saturday. So they're taking place, Carrie, if not mistaken, at some of the resort locations. So you can buy tickets, so it's a much smaller venue. Friday night is a grand tasting, what we call the 19th hole, which is behind the 18th hole of Harbortown. It's 350 people there, and we're expecting about 3,000 people on Saturday, March 14th. We're going to be parking in the right-of-ways. If you live in and around Harbortown, this Saturday the 14th, I would expect some delays. They are going to be using Liberty Oak and Artist Way for parking for sponsors. And I look for it to be pretty congested between the corridor between Plantation Drive and Harbortown. Speaking of the parking lots, if you've been by the trolley lot, you've noticed there's a lot of fresh dirt out there. We're in the process of repairing our parking areas. This is going to be a project that's going to take place probably over a 3-year span. We're working in what we consider Lot 1 now, which is the lot immediate to the left as you pull into the trolley station. I meet with Santee Cooper on Friday. Santee Cooper is providing all the material to cover our parking areas, the base material, which, to be quite honest with you, is almost $1 million donation to this community. So it's something that's going to evolve over time. We're going to start out next week with Crush and Run. It's not going to remain that way. It will remain that way through the golf tournament. And at the end of the golf tournament, the plan is to come back, put a layer of topsoil, and reseed it to get it to grow back. And then Lot 1 would be shut down probably until the end of September. And that would be the sequence as we kind of move through the parking area. So the events are we're still getting them, obviously, into the plantation. Our parking right-of-ways are very important to us. They're a mess right now. I'm praying for some dry days between now and the the Wine Fest, because right now, if it was this weekend, they would have a big time parking in what we currently have. In the last update, I have been working over the last 8 months to put together an intern program for Sea Pines. My portion of it would be security related for those kids who are involved as criminal justice majors, that we would bring them in during either a spring break or over the summer to work with our security department to kind of teach them of what it is that we're doing here. We're very diversified here in Sea Pines. David has the David has the wildlife program. So this is a program that we're looking to hopefully to expand. We're working to get the details worked out, to get the lawyers to approve it, and hopefully have them here in place this summer. If not, then we're going to be using part-time staff to kind of our beach towels that are hanging over some of our rental units, bicycles cluttered in the area. The interns are going to work with a security officer. It's not an intern that we're going to put in a patrol car and say, go police Sea Pine. But they're going to work with us. But we're going to start the program out small, and then we're going to grow. Because there's very few criminal justice intern programs in South Carolina. I have a young son who's in the criminal justice program. We're trying to find him an internship. It's very difficult. But I think we have a lot to offer here in Sea Pines to give back to these college kids. So I'll keep you posted as that progresses. Okay? That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Good morning. The main part of my agenda is to talk about our new Ocean Golf Course, but before I get into that, Jennifer had asked me to touch on a couple of other things, and so I will. In your property owner newsletter that you receive quarterly and so forth, the Sea Pines Resort provides different golf opportunities for the property owners. So a lot of times I get phone calls to my office that asking about what opportunities there are for golf utilizing the property owner tee times. And so we print it each time in the property owner newsletter, and it's about there's packages that we sell that you all property owners can certainly participate in, as well as our country club members. And there's 20-round packages up to 60-round packages. There are reduced rates for you to utilize on your property owner tee times as well. So if you have any questions, call my office. It's all the information is in your property owner newsletter, so just look at it. If you have any questions, let us know. Kind of give you an update on the Harbortown Clubhouse. Cliff McMacken has been coming in previous meetings and giving an update, but we anticipate to have our CO around the 6th of March. Now, once we get the CO, then there's a lot of sequences that happen shortly thereafter. Furniture is to arrive around the 11th if everything goes according to the plan. And then our golf carts start moving into our new facility. And then we plan to go live in our new clubhouse around the 22nd of March, between the 22nd and the 25th. So everything is on schedule. We're looking really forward. You all are going to be extremely proud of this new facility, as we are. It's going to be a landmark for the community, the island, and really it's going to be just magnificent. We are going to have a ribbon cutting on the 27th. Because we're opening this building when we're really getting in season. It's not going to be a grand festivity similar to what we did at the Plantation Club, but we are going to have a ribbon cutting. There'll be certain key features to it, but that is planned for around the 22nd, and there'll probably be some more information coming out. So wanted to let you all know that. Also, May the 4th of this year, after the RBC Heritage, we are closing Harbortown Golf Links. We're going to close Harbortown Golf Links from May the 4th through mid to late September of this year. Our objectives with the closing the golf course is to regrass the entire Harbortown Golf Links, which the fairway grasses have been out there since 1969. We have not touched them other than we top dress fairways and so forth. But we are taking that 419 Bermuda grass and we're turning it to the same grass we planted at Heron Point, which is Celebration Bermuda grass. And we're going to do that on fairways and roughs and tees. So all the grass that you'll see out there, we're going to spray it. It's going to turn brown. And then we're going to going to call inner sprig. So we'll kind of take like you do when you're a farmer and you just harrow the fairways. We're going to do some of that to create the plant bed to plant this new grass. Along with this project, we're going to regrass our greens at Harbortown Golf Links. We currently have Tiff Eagle Bermuda grass, which is the same grass we just planted on Heron Point, the same grass the Sea Pines Country Club has, same grass that we've had at Harbortown Golf Links since 2001. It's just these hybrid grasses have a life expectancy of 12 to 14 years, so it's coming up on that time frame. So we're just doing what we need to address that, and we're going to regrass the greens. They'll all be lasered, so there'll be no design changes to the project at all. But and along with that, which you see pipe going in, you see some workers out on Harbortown through the winter putting in some pipe. We are putting in a new irrigation system. We haven't addressed irrigation on Harbortown since the mid-90s, and so that system that is out there certainly doesn't manage water in the ability that we would really like. We irrigate things that we probably should have less water going to. So we'll really be able to manage water, and from all the sources that were provided through the Public Service District. And by the way, we irrigate with affluent water, so it's all through our relationship with the Public Service District. So all that entire system will be replaced this summer. Some of you may question, well, what about July the 4th fireworks, where all of you come in and sit on a lot of you sit on the 18th fairway. And so we have a short window of time to get this project in. So our first effort is going to be get the irrigation system in the 18th fairway of Harbortown, regrass the 18th fairway of Harbortown, redo the green, and then we're going to entire sod the entire 18th fairway of Harbortown. So it's not going to be growing in all summer long, other than the roots will be attaching. But our plan is, as long as Mother Nature cooperates and something tragic doesn't happen, we plan to sod the entire 18th fairway, so that we can have the fireworks and you all can come out and enjoy that. So there's a lot of things to go in to make all this happen, but that is our plan. We also have a little a little erosion. I won't say a repair. We've got some out there behind the 18th green. We still have some areas that are eroding a little bit, and so we're going to do a small erosion repair out there. So that will also take place. That we may need to do that over the course of the entire summer. Don't think I can fit, because we have a wedding on the 23rd of May. So we've got a lot of obstacles we're trying to work around, but we're confident we can make that happen and accommodate all the requests we have out there. Now on our Ocean Golf Course. October, once we got Harbortown Golf Links open in mid to late September of this year, shortly thereafter, October the 5th, on a Monday, we closed our Ocean Golf Course. Ocean Golf Course was rebuilt by Macomber in 1995. It's reached its life, as a lot of you that play the golf course know. It doesn't drain very well. The carpet is in somewhat disrepair. We've had some ups and downs with greens and so forth. And it's just time to revitalize and reconstruct the golf course. And we're going to do that to the extent that we did on Heron Point. We are not going to make it as difficult as we did at Heron Point. It is going to be a player-friendly golf course for everybody to enjoy. And what we have up there on the board, this is the front nine. There's another picture, and I also have these plats over here. And once we get this project laid out, we will have community meetings. So this is not intended to be the meeting and not having any additional meetings. We want you to have ownership into this. We're going to lay it out. It's still a work in progress, and we are going to be making some changes. But I did just want to touch on that. The Love Golf Design is who we've contracted with, Davis Love and his group, and to do this golf course. They are here today. That's why I'm leaving now, because we're going to try to finalize a lot of the front nine, and our ownership is in town as well. But I did want to touch on tree removal and for this project. On Heron Point, when we went into that project, we removed or trimmed and removed up to 850 trees out there. I'm sure it's as hard to realize that we've done that. Over the course of time, we've probably addressed up to 500, 600, 700 trees at Harbortown, and the Country Club has done some of this as well. We've identified about 374 trees, and these trees are primarily sweet gum trees that have the little balls that drop and so forth, and some pine trees. We are not touching any specimen oaks. We're not allowed to first, but we're working around all the specimen oaks and so forth. We have gained approval from the CSA board about our tree removal and our wetlands plans for the Ocean Golf Course. One thing to understand is you see, if you look at this plan up here, you'll see some brown areas, and brown areas like right there and around the golf course. The brown are the areas that we're planning to fill on the golf course. But if we fill an acre of land, we've got to mitigate against that 1 acre. So in close proximity to where we filled it. So we can't just go and take a wetland and fill it in and not return it to a wetland in a close proximity to where we are. So and we've got to get federal permits to support this project, and we're in the process of doing that. But every area that will be filled will be other lagoons in the close proximity will be expanded. So another thing to understand, if you've lived in the community with a water view, you're going to continue to have a water view. We're not going to take water away from you. If you lived with the cart path on the other side of the fairway or on your side of the fairway, you will continue to have a cart path on your side of the fairway. We're not trying to make changes that are going to negatively impact the community. There will be dust in this project because we're going to take this golf course apart. When we close in October, and from October to say January, we're removing everything. The cart paths we've got to remove. We've got to spray out the golf course. We've got to remove all the grass that's out there and dispose of it. So when we do that, it turns into dirt. We've got to turn that dirt and reshape everything and rebuild the golf course and make the changes that we're planning to do. So there will be bulldozers, and I don't know so much about motor graders, but there'll be a lot of heavy equipment out there. There will be times when it will be dusty, but our plan is to, once we get the golf course removed, say in January, then we should start shaping the golf course and rebuilding. And our growing, you kind of back into the projects based on your growing season. Your growing season is only the summertime. So we've got to turn this golf course over to the superintendent. My goal is to turn it over at the end of June. So we've got a lot to happen, but at the end of June, we'll have the grass, the golf course will be shaped, the bunkers will be in, the lagoons will have their modifications, and then we'll be growing it in. A lot of irrigation, a lot of fertilization, and so forth. So that will happen, but it doesn't happen immediately. It takes a period of time. So from the end of June through the middle to end of September is our time to kind of grow this golf course in and get it ready to reopen. One thing about the trees, we are not touching any tree on anybody's property. And if we choose to do that, we will call you, we will meet with you, and so don't have any fear that we're going to invade your home area and try to remove a tree. In the past, if we have, I think we've done a pretty good job communicating with you and working out any issue. We want to continue that because this golf course is for all of us. We want your enjoyment. We can't be successful without building something that you all enjoy. And so if you have any questions at all through this entire project, please feel free to give me a call, and I'll certainly meet with any situation. This golf course, one of the changes, Tracy, if you could go to the next slide. Well, let me just touch on this. Sorry. This is one. So the corridors that are on this golf course, we're kind of restricted because we've got water and so forth. So you can't, and then the homeowners that live throughout it. So there's not a lot of changes, but inside the corridors is where we're going to make the change. And so we may lengthen a hole, we may shorten a hole, we may put different bunkers in, we may reshape everything. We're going to shape the fairway so that they receive golf balls versus the olden ways where you got rounded fairways, the balls kind of just kick off into the water edges. We're going to try to keep those golf balls in play. The one thing, this pond right here is one of the areas that we have deemed to fill, and that's on the side of the driving range at the Plantation Club. It catches thousands of golf balls, probably catches a good many of your golf balls as you're teeing off from number one. We are looking to fill that area. That's probably the largest area in the golf course that's planned to be filled. Certainly doesn't impact anybody other than our driving range operation. And then as you go around, we are going to make some changes throughout. Number 7 has got to have a lot of change there. Again, it will continue to be a par 3, but 7's got a lot of issue with shade and air movement, and so that is an area that we will spend a lot of time addressing. 9, we are looking to add a new water feature there. That is not decided that we're going to end up finalizing and doing that. It's just something that we're considering right now. But Tracy, if you could go to the next slide. The hole number 10, and 10's always been a real sharp dogleg right, and doesn't really function real well as a good golf hole. So we're looking to change number 10 to a par 3 and make number 11 a par 4. If you remember back in the 9th, and so that's probably one of the bigger changes, and then on number 17, if you remember back in the 90s before we rebuilt the golf course, the 16th hole was a very difficult par 4, 17 was a par 5, and 18 was a par 4. We're returning it that way. Not so much that 16 is going to be as difficult as it was because it was basically unplayable years ago. But 17 is planned to be a par 5. 18 is we're looking at that to be a par 4. 15, the signature hole going out toward the beach. That will still be the signature hole. It will probably the theme of the golf course is more about the sand dunes, because there's some naturalized sand dunes throughout this golf course that we're going to accent, bring out so that that gets integrated into the design. So a lot of that will be featured out on 15 and 16 and some of the other areas. So yeah, I do want to, if any of you have any questions, yes, go.
I think you said with the reshaping of the fairways, you're saying that my golf ball will no longer go into the water?
I'm not saying it will no longer. But we can certainly arrange that with some golf lessons. But we are going to do our best to try to keep your golf ball in play. Our best. Not saying we can achieve all that, but our best. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Back in the day, 15th green was elevated.
Yes, sir.
Had a really nice view of the ocean. Is that part of the plan or not?
It probably will be elevated a little bit. It's certainly not going to. Back in the day, as you speak, it was probably 12, 14 feet in the air, and we will probably not do that. Also, we're trying to also work with Atlantic Point property owners that live out there and so forth, not to take away their views and so forth. And back then, it was kind of like a tabletop green, so if you have a long golf hole, the ball would not stay on the green. So we will not raise it that high. We probably will elevate it. We're working on how we place the tees in the green in comparison to the length of the hole and so forth. But we do want to achieve a much better view than we have today with the ocean. Any other questions?
What was the timing again for the start?
We close in October the 5th on a Monday. We open back up, I'm saying mid to late September. My boss would like me to open up early September, but it's all about the maturity of that golf course and the grass. And so I'm saying mid to late September. And we will, we will not overseed Heron Point the first year because the grass needs to mature. And when you put winter overseed on it, it does affect the maturity of the golf course. It does also, when it comes out of transition in June, there's usually some effect. And however, when we open up Harbor Town, we do have to overseed it because of the tournament. So that's why it's real important to get Harbor Town finished and grown in so that we can prepare it for overseeding and preparation for the golf tournament. So.
Is there any talk about renumbering the holes?
Good point. I had that on my net and I forgot all about that, but there's rumors out there, and so if you've heard rumors, yeah, I've heard a lot of different rumors. We did consider whether they're going to flip the 9s, and I would say we're probably 90% sure we're not going to do that. So I would prefer not to do that because 15, 16, 17, and 18 are the signature holes out there. That's the memorable aspect when you walk off the golf course. We want that continued. It's going to be hard to achieve that on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to do the best we can. Flipping it was about coming back so that your golf cart is kind of at the clubhouse and so forth, because it's not kind of an operational consideration, but it's probably not the best for the layout and the playability of the golf course. So I'm pushing kind of hard that we do not do that, but I answer to others. So, any other questions? Well, thank you, and it's great that we're able to do this. And so at the end of in October of 16, we will have all of our clubhouses replaced, have our new beach club, have Harbortown Golf Links online. We'll have all of our golf courses addressed and rebuilt. And then for all of us to enjoy, we will be looking at other things, but all of our resort amenities right now will be in awesome condition and for all of you to enjoy. Then we will get into what do we got to do with the pools. That will get addressed, I promise you. Or pool. So, thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Brett.
All right. I'd like to introduce Joe Kernan, who's the chair of our ASPO CSA Joint Task Force on Traffic. He's got some updates for you. Joe?
Good morning. I don't know how you get a job like these guys have, to get to tell you all this good stuff. You know?
all happy stuff.
But somebody's got to be the stucky, and I am. So I'm going to talk to you about our traffic issue. First slide, please. This is what we see happening. We all know from our own personal experience at 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, around the 5 o'clock period, we're loading up the circle, and we're going to see more of that. This morning, if you read the paper yesterday, the council approved a memorandum of understanding with USCB, and so we're a much further step ahead towards that happening. The working number for students is 350, 20% for staff on that, and so forth, and we're going to have that many more cars. So we think we're at the tipping point at the circle, and so forth. And one of the second point here is that one of the bad things about that is that, you know, a lot of us are guilty of using the public's parking lots in order to escape the circle of traffic. That's a very dangerous thing. Now, we can either do what happens in a lot of communities, wait until somebody gets hurt and then have a reactive answer to that, or we can become proactive. We're going to bring that problem to the attention of the town, and we can't increase the capacity of the circle nor that of Pope Avenue. We don't live on the mainland. There is no way to put in parallel roads and so forth. So we have to live with what you consider as a resource, the amount of traffic that you can handle on the in the cul-de-sac that we live in, which is the Pope Avenue and the circle itself. So the only choice we have is if you can't solve a problem, you have to manage it. And we're going to have to find better ways to manage the traffic. And one of those is to take a look at that safety issue and talk with Publix. It turns out Publix owns all of those parking lots in there. They're probably the biggest property owner in our vicinity. And I've talked with them several times. They won't talk with me anymore because they understand now they have a liability. So I think what we'll do is encourage the town, who up until at least this last month has never communicated with Publix. I think it's important that we encourage them to do that, and we look to see if we can rearrange some things in there to provide some kind of relief for those of us who want to leave the plantation and not have to go 3/4 around the circle to get out of here. See whether or not we can't. If we can accomplish something in that area, that'll give us some relief. Next slide, please. This is this year's traffic committee. Last year it was just a CSA committee. ASPO has joined the team. Carol Adams, myself, and Mark King were on it last year with Mark Griffith. And this is the cast of characters that we have this year. This afternoon at 3:30, we will get together and we will begin to strategize as to how can we, what ideas do we have, and how can we begin to get the town to realize they have to manage from a traffic network perspective. The current issues with Well, just go to the next slide. The activities we've had during this past year, we have met several times with the town. That is, we, Sea Pines Committee, have met with Steve Riley and his engineers several times. The first time we did was the focus was on USCB and the issue of Office Park Road, Greenwood Drive, how that's going to, how can we mitigate something there. I don't think that's a sufficient thing, but nevertheless, that's one of the things, one of the specifics that has to be solved. As I started to say, the LMO, the Land Management Ordinance, that's still in play now and has even the previous editions of it, when you improve a property or you're going to build, you talk about trips going to that particular facility, and you look to see if the parking is so forth and so on. You only have to look out to the next intersection. Okay, now that's a big assumption. That means that you believe that you have a rich road system that you don't have to worry about any impact somewhere else along the road. Well, we know now that that's not true. With all the improvements and things we want to do at Coligny and so forth, we know that the traffic problem presents itself, not enough parking there and too much delays at our circle. That's really the nub of the problem. If we can't solve that, and physically you can never really completely solve that, we have to do more to mitigate it. And based upon those kinds of thoughts, we did manage to get the town between June 11 and August 21st to agree that, yes, they have to look at this on a wide area basis. And so they are preparing, and they've already started to some degree, putting together the sense of a network for roads, and we need to measure everything in Hilton Head itself. This would be connected to a similar network that exists throughout the state. Right now in that network, we are only a node on the network. So this would expand that in there, and there would be an expression of what the traffic limitations are on all the road system. That's an important step. It's something that should have been done way before this period. The USCB, the rules right now from the town are that will proceed with the current set of rules, not anything that we might affect at a later time. At the November 4th meeting, we have been pressing to start measuring traffic right away, but it's not going to happen until June 2015. Part of the issue, again, in the past has been that we only measured the circle traffic every 5 years. That's kind of interesting since it's in the center of the traffic issue. But anyway, we're going to follow that schedule, and then they'll be doing other measurements along with that in our area. Going to the next page. In the meantime, a gentleman by the name of Tom Sharp, independent of anything that we're doing, has argued for the creation of a committee. The mayor and he agreed, and the town has set up what's called the Circle to Circle committee. We've had our first meeting on the 25th, this last week. There'll be meetings every Wednesday from now on until we find out what we can do. As you can see from the list, the cast of characters here, most of these people are real estate, building oriented, and so forth. Only myself and Mr. Daly, representing Forest Beach POA, represent only residents. So to what effect we will have remains to be seen, but we will be bringing some ideas to that group. Next slide, please. The plan for the operation of the committee set up by the ordinance that approved this, there will be weekly public meetings. I want to emphasize public because if you want to help us, you ought to show up at some of these public meetings. The way they're being conducted is there'll be some briefings and so forth. The committee people will talk to one another and whatever. Then there's the public is encouraged to input their thoughts. They're estimated to go on for 3 months. So this is kind of like an open-ended thing. So we do have an opportunity, though, to influence what might happen. Again, USCB campus is not in the scope of that, so there will be no discussions where we say we don't like it and what have you and so forth. It's basically a fait accompli. As I said, we started last Wednesday and with a vision discussion. Basically what we did was the staff people at the town presented at each district from Coligny up to the Circle, each district in there, what the new rules were under the LMO, the land ordinance. Basically what is happening in most of those areas is an attempt to try to, well, it's an increase in density. One of the things that's been passed by the town is that we now have a new district around the Circle itself, which allows greater density. One argument that we've made on that is that there'll be no hotels in there, and that is expressly forbidden by the change. Nevertheless, density equates to more people, more cars, so forth. So that's all yet to come. Some of that is good. There's no question about it. Putting residences above stores, things like that, might be a good planning technique. Somehow we've got to learn how to live with all the cars. We're almost competing with all of our tourists, you know. Yogi Berra once said, nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. And we may be approaching that. Okay, again, the second meeting will be March the 11th. The town will present an update on where they think they are with traffic, and we'll have an opportunity to comment on that and to hopefully inject some ideas into their thinking. So that would be a good meeting for any of you who are interested in this to show up for. That would be next Wednesday. And that's all I have. Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry. At the town hall in the main room. Yes, sir.
Joe, I think you'd be commended for all the work you've done, sometimes without a hell of a lot of support.
Yeah. I had yours.
I think it's time sometimes property owners to get off their knees and stand up. We constitute, I would guess, about 20% of the island population, and I think a larger percentage of the tax ratables. The inclusion of USCB there is going to create hell for us. It's already difficult at many times of the year, but it's going to make it far worse. Now, we own Greenwood Drive. That's one thing to our advantage in terms of being able to influence this. I want anyone to imagine 200 to 400 cars trying to get out of Office Park Road up to Pope Avenue, and the only place they're going is the Circle. I think it's time for ASPO to stand up and consider legal action to try to put a restraint on this thing until a real traffic survey is done. What they have done is absolute, irresponsible, incompetent nonsense. And I think that I say those words advisedly. I think if the property owners really understand how this is going to impact them, they're going to be upset. But why get upset after the fact? I think if you act before the fact, this is not yet a fait accompli. I think Steve Riley has a serious problem. Our money is burning a hole in his pockets. And to, first of all, devote $23 million to a state-owned institution, I think is totally irresponsible for town taxpayers. But beyond that, to create a situation which is going to make our life intolerable, I think is beyond the pale. And I think it's time for ASPO, which represents the property owners here, to stand up and take some sort of action.
Well, thank you for your comment. My purpose here is to represent the committee and so forth and what have you. On a personal level, I don't disagree with what you've said, and you and I have talked, and one of the things that's interesting to me is part of the TIF area in which this work would have to be done, there's another piece of ground called the Northridge Plaza, which is in the TIF area. And if they had placed this school in that area, you get all the good things you think out of the school to support the hotels and so forth, but you certainly don't impact on our traffic at the Circle and so forth. And I don't know why that's never been discussed at the council meetings.
Joe, I just wonder, by a show of hands, how many people here are concerned about this?
How many people are concerned? A lot of people. I agree.
Let's do something about it.
Yes, sir.
Has the South Carolina, University of South Carolina on the state level been approached about, delaying their program? I mean, they're putting in programs, they want to grow in the Buford campus, but are they aware of the issues here? Have we approached their trustees or others about that?
I don't want to embarrass anybody, but I don't think anybody who was for this in the beginning, Mrs. Upshaw and others, had any idea of looking at traffic and other infrastructure issues. Everybody thinks everything can happen above ground forever and just go on happily, and you don't have to worry about what's below ground or what the road system is. I don't think they had there's nothing in our planning process that says before we do anything as a mature town, okay, we ought to take into account the entire infrastructure. Not just the road system, the sewage, storm sewer, the whole works. It needs to be done. We're backing ourselves right into these issues. And it's, frankly, it's stupid.
I think that the state level of the University of South Carolina has some control over the Buford campus and what they do. If you reach the right people and talk to them about putting this off or finding another place because of these issues, it's done. I don't know if that's been done. That's the question. And whether or not they're so far behind us, that they won't change.
I don't know if it's been done either. Obviously, there has to have been some discussions. I don't know where Tom Davis or any of those people are on any of this. This is happening within the university structure itself. I don't know if you read today's paper, but the university in the end is only going to have to kick in $1 million, and we're kicking in $23 million based on the TIF monies. So I didn't mean to get into this because my job today was to tell you the status of where we are. I have to separate my personal opinions from where we are collectively. Now, this afternoon, we're going to have a committee meeting. It'll be the first one under the new boards, and I'll have to take a sense of the committee to see, where we are before I can speak in behalf on part of CSA or ASPO. I can't do that unless, we go through the process of communication and agreement. Yes, sir.
One other comment. I went to that meeting.
Yes, you did.
Yesterday. I didn't realize it's done. It's a done deal. I thought it was still under consideration, but it's a done deal. There's no question about that. Yeah. Secondly, is there any preliminary or other consideration what to do with that Office Park, Greenwood intersection? I know people that won't take a left turn there.
That in our meetings that we had last year with the committee, with the professionals at the town, we talked about that. I don't have a drawing to show you and so forth, but what they're offering is some arrangements on how that intersection works, on how the lanes would be reconfigured slightly. They're not making a big change. The other thing we've talked about is to make that a one-way road. Now that's controversial as well. Yeah. Yes, so that the student population won't be coming back in towards Greenwood. Now, people who shop in the other area over there, that means they could make their right turn, go shop, but they're going to have to go around the circle to get back in. So that's not exactly attractive either.
This is sort of off the wall, but has anyone ever considered another entrance into Sea Pines from Palmetto Bay Road? I mean, we do have some property there.
I think years before my time, I think that was considered. But if you're doing that, The answer is no. We haven't had a discussion on that.
I think, it's something to look into.
Yeah.
Joe, I can't swear for the accuracy of the island packet, but it seems to me at the very end of the article, there was something about the fact that this might be abrogated by some act of God or something of that nature. I don't think it's final. I'm serious. I'm not a lawyer. There are probably plenty of lawyers here in the audience who could express an opinion as to whether a community can institute a lawsuit by virtue of the fact that what planning is doing is going to seriously negatively impact their lives and their investments.
Yeah, the point that you're talking to is there's a clause that has to go in, if it's not already in there, that says that if the plan would falter, in other words, if the property was turned over to the university and whatever happens is a falter, then the property would revert back to the town. That's what you're talking about there. Why would you have that in there if you're so, unless you thought there was a risk?
We'll still have time at the end for questions, but I do want to move on to the agenda. And Joe, if you can stay around.
I will.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, I'd like to introduce David Henderson's going to talk about some activities at the Forest Preserve. David?
Thank you, Brett. Back to happy things. Wanted to talk to you about a couple of fundraising initiatives with the Forest Preserve, but I wanted to thank you for your time. I know it's a full agenda, a lot of important topics being discussed, but I wanted to start with just a quick overview of the Forest Preserve. If you're not already familiar with it, the Forest Preserve it's substantial. It's 605 acres in size. That's almost a square mile. It is the largest tract of undeveloped land that is remaining on Hilton Head Island. Lake Mary, our largest lake, is approximately 30 acres in size. It's the largest freshwater lake that is on Hilton Head. Is that better? Okay. Is that better? No. That's why I asked.
I think that's the wrong one, David.
How about that? I'm just going to lean over. And the Forest Preserve, so it's substantial, and it's been recognized. In 1998, the National Audubon Society recognized the Forest Preserve as an important bird area. And they described the Forest Preserve as a valuable oasis of wildlife habitat in an otherwise heavily developed coastal setting. And the Forest Preserve is unique. It is a place where sea pines can gather, building a sense of community while enjoying this beautiful outdoor setting that we all get to enjoy. So let's talk about Party in the Pines. This is our inaugural spring event. We are in a process right now in the Forest Preserve where all the infrastructure, primarily the decks, the docks, the boardwalks, were originally installed in the 1970s, 1980s. And so those have all kind of come due for replacement. They've reached the end of their useful life, and in many cases beyond their useful life. And so we're in a cycle right now of going through this process. And it started several years ago with the Ricefield Boardwalk. We did the dock at Fisherman's Point last year. Work on replacing the Vanishing Swamp Boardwalk is actually starting this week. And so we really needed to kind of up our game in order to be able to pay for these much-needed replacements. And we're also looking ahead. There's some early stage conceptual work being done right now looking at potential improvements in the Forest Preserve. How can we make it easier to access, safer to access, and more enjoyable for those that are able to access it. And at the appropriate time, that will be moved forward and put before you. But those are the reasons why we're wanting to do this. The bonfire event, we had our 4th event this past fall. It really has been well received. We have sold out in short order the last couple of years, and we received a lot of favorable comments about it. And we received input and feedback from folks saying, hey, look, we'd love you to do another event. So we said, all right, great. How about a spring event? And so I'm here to talk to you about the Party in the Pines event. It is, relatively speaking, more casual event than the bonfire, not that it's a formal event. But the food will be picnic centered. It'll be barbecue, chicken, hot dogs. We'll have sides by One Hot Mamas. As you can see at the top, it is Saturday, April 4th from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. That is the Saturday before Easter. We have offering the ticket prices for adults at $40, and unlike the bonfire, we're offering a child ticket, 12 and under, for $15. Beer and wine will be included in the ticket price. H2O Nature Center will have their alligator and wildlife tour boat there, providing complimentary rides during the entire time of the event. They'll actually be starting before the event. And again, all proceeds will benefit capital replacement projects in the Forest Preserve. So the next one. This is certainly not a new program, but something that we're trying to do a better job of promoting to you all, and that is the Birdies for Charity initiative that the Heritage Class Foundation maintains. The way that it works is that you can make a pledge on a per birdie basis related to the golf tournament, or you can do a flat donation. If you do a flat donation, the minimum is $25. And I just went through this process last week and found it to be very easy. It took about 5 minutes. You can go online, you make minimum $25 donation that you want, and you enter your information. It prints out your receipt for your taxes, and you're set and done. If you would choose to go to the per birdie pledge, the way it works, it's like a walk-a-thon, except instead of pledging per mile, you pledge per birdie. And so the average number of birdies at a tournament is about 1,300, but it varies from year to year. So if you went that route, and I would encourage you to do the flat for this reason. If you do the per birdie pledge, so there's 1,300 on average. So if you pledge a penny, that's $13. 2 pennies, it's 26. They have the numbers online. But the reason why I'd encourage you to do the flat is, one, you know what that price is, and two, it's easier because if you do the flat, you're done when you get off the internet. If you do it the per birdie pledge, the Heritage Classic Foundation, once the tournament is over, has got to bill you based on how many birdies there were that particular year. So either way you go. But the nice thing about this is that the Heritage Classic Foundation provides a 15% match. So we get 100% of whatever you would choose, and you need to select the Sea Pines Forest Preserve as the charity that you want it to go to. They have a list of approved charities. There's about 100 of them. Forest Preserve is one of those. We receive everything that you pledged plus that 15% match. So that is a nice feature of this program. You can go to heritageclassicfoundation.com to donate. We have handouts for both the Parties in the Pine and the Birdies for Charity just outside the door on the left. The newsletter will be reaching you very soon. There'll be e-blast, and all of this information for both of these events will be available. So thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, David. And now, Jennifer, if you'd like to come up and talk about some events that are going on this spring, other than the one we just talked about.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. I was told by a gentleman this morning that I speak very quickly and that I should slow down a little bit. So I will try to do that. I feel like I'm always the last one presenting, and I don't want to keep anyone any longer than we have to be here. But a couple of announcements. We have a list of our March community events, and I'm sorry we don't have those on a slide, but you can pick up a copy of those out in the lobby. One typo, I noticed that the community blood drive times were listed incorrectly. The correct time is 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. So I will make that change on the follow-up email that you receive that recaps today's community copy. The other events that we have in addition to the blood drive this month are a Secrets to Health seminar. And I have not attended one of these, but I am told that you will be informed of the 3 secrets to good health and wellness. So that is going to be on March 18th. That is a free seminar, and it is hosted by Dr. Sizemore, who is a local chiropractic physician. So hopefully you will all take advantage of that. We also have the Wellness Bus coming out on March 19th, which is I think a great free service to the community. They're offering free blood pressure checks, free blood sugar checks, free breast exams, free skincare checks, free prostate exams. I don't know what else you could possibly get there. They do lipid cholesterol screenings and PSA testing. There's a small upcharge of $10 for those, and you do have to fast for some of those. So Jeannie Pierce at our office has more information. You can also either just show up for those tests. If you just show up without an appointment, sometimes you have to wait a little bit. So it's probably best if you want to arrive at a specific time to call Jeannie and make an appointment to have your services done and let her know which services you plan to have when you're there. Again, that's March 19th, and that's from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. There's also the AARP Safe Driver class. So if you're feeling that you need to brush up on your driving skills a little bit, those classes are hosted every couple of months here at the Community Center, and there's more information about that on our website. One thing I did want to mention real quickly is that if you are still having problems finding any of the information that we're talking about on the website, when you go to seapinesliving.com, which is where we have all of our information that we cover and anything that you're looking for related to CSA, there's a search bar at the very top that I've recently added the last couple of months that will help you find what you're looking for, because I know there's a lot of information on the website and it's very hard to find what you're looking for. So the best thing is to look for the little search bar at the top that says search and just type in a couple of words. So if you're looking for the Wellness Bus schedule, just type in Wellness Bus and it will pull up the pages that talk about the Wellness Bus. It'll pull up the event calendar, for instance. If you're looking for the long-range strategic plan because you want to read up on that, just type in long-range plan, and it will take you, show you the pages where the long-range plan are. It's the easiest way to find what you're looking for. There's also a directory on the website that's called A to Z Directory, and you can go there, and everything that's on the website more or less is listed alphabetically as well there. So those are kind of the two fastest ways to find what you're looking for on the website. We also do have an event calendar on there, and it should have most of our events on there, if not all of them. We don't always list all of the resort events on there. Those are typically listed on their website, but we do try to share those on our Facebook page for those of you who want to get out and attend some of those fantastic events that are sponsored by the resort. Brett touched a little bit on the Legacy Oaks program, which John Parsons is heading up. Is John here today? I think so. Hey, John. And we're doing this nice brochure for John. It's still in progress, but what it does is it gives you a map inside, and we're going to be increasing the size of this map and adding a little bit more detail to it. But there will actually be a legend here that tells you what each of the trees are that are in the program and where you can find them, and a little history about them as well. And then the map will be a walking or biking map, so it'll tell you how to get to the different areas so that you can get out and walk around or bike around and check out the trees that are in the program that we're trying to preserve. Let's see. Just want to make sure I haven't forgotten anything here. Brett, there was something you mentioned, the survey. If you're interested in giving us feedback about the trash or recycle services that you're using, if you like them, if you don't like them, if you want to see them changed, if you have any feedback for us, we did put a survey up on the website. Again, if you're having difficulties finding it, there's two main ways to get to it. It's on the members area, so as soon as you log into the website, you land on the members area page. There's a link there right at the top that you can go to, and you can take the survey. It's only 2 questions, 3 questions. It's very short. It can also be found under the contacts link of the website. So there's a couple of different ways to access that survey if you're interested in taking it. Also, the flyers that give you more information about Party in the Pines and the Birdies for Charity program to benefit the Forest Preserve are out in the lobby on the table, so be sure to grab those on your way out. And as usual, if you have any questions about any of these things, you can reach me at the CSA office or give any of us a call. Yes?
I would like to interject a note of caution, and here I am an expert. According to my prior inquiries, these breast and prostate exams are done by, I would say, barely trained nurses. And nobody should take assurance of a normal examination on the basis of that.
Okay, well,
Very important.
The Wellness Bus is sponsored and brought to us by Beaufort Memorial Hospital, and so it is a registered nurse. I can't speak to their capabilities, but...
Well, I'm speaking to it.
Okay. as probably is the case with any medical professional that you see, you know, you have to do your own due diligence to decide if those services are up to par for you or not. But for those people who are interested and just haven't been able to make it to their regular physician, I think that there's some benefit in those services. And if you wish to take advantage of those, that is on March 19th. And thanks, everyone, for coming out to the community coffee. We will have a video of this event, and potentially we'll be having videos of these community coffees moving forward available on the website. When I send out the email to the community to recap today's meeting, there will also be a link to the video in that email so you can share it with your friends and other property owners who maybe are not here right now and couldn't join us at the meeting. And thanks for coming, everyone.
Good job.
Thanks, Jennifer. One quick topic just for everybody that I forgot to, someone brought up this morning that I forgot to mention is our Fraser Circle. Some of you may have noticed flags around Fraser Circle. We are looking at some safety issues at Fraser Circle and trying to get we are meeting with an engineering firm to help us design some solutions to that. Right now, when trucks go through that and take a right turn, they go up over the curb or they go into the oncoming lane to make that turn. So we're looking at how we can adjust that and make improvements there to allow that to become a much more safe environment for everybody. So just wanted to that's not fine. Those flags aren't final where everything's going, but it is something that we're looking at and will be coming up soon. So with that, any questions? Yes, sir.
You're doing these measurements. What are they for?
The survey that, and we'll be giving updates. They've moved. This is the town, and they're working on the storm drain system. They're doing an inventory of those and determining what assets the town is managing actually at this point for us and collecting the funds and getting a complete inventory. They have the responsibility to make the improvements to that to make sure that the stormwater system is functioning appropriately, and they're doing their measurements right now on as-built, what has been built out there, and going through the plantation to determine that, and they're doing that throughout the island. Okay. Yes, sir.
Compliments with Frank Nettles. The paving at the corner of Plantation and Lighthouse.
Yes.
They did it, and within a week, the potholes were back. And I don't know if it's an outside contractor or what, but they came back in and filled them in 2 days. And it was very well done. I'm sure it was Frank getting it done.
Yes, that's an outside contractor, but Frank manages that, and I think we still have a couple of issues that we're still following up with on the contractor. So, but thank you. Thanks. Yes, sir.
Going back to the burglary issue, the 3 burglaries, do we keep track, or can we keep track of the day passes that are issued around the times of those burglaries?
We do keep track of day passes, the number and quantities that are there, but there's not an application or a lot of information that's completed at the gate for those day passes.
That might be something to look into because, at the end of the day, it would be great if we could see some patterns.
Yes. Well, we are actually with the new RFID system. It doesn't relate to day passes specifically.
I'm not too worried about
Right.
the residents.
Right. Well, it's going to help us with commercial. As we have found out through previous crimes that have been committed, unfortunately, some of those have happened from some of our commercial providers. So we will be getting information on commercial providers coming in and out of the plantation at the gates in at Fraser Circle, and we'll know who's coming in and what time they come in and what time they're going out. So we'll have some of that information available. Okay. Other questions?
I don't know if David mentioned this, but the Party in the Pines, I'm sure, is going to be a very popular event as it's kind of a sister event to the bonfire. Tickets are limited, space is very limited, and you can purchase your tickets online at seapinesforestpreserve.org, or you can come by the CSA office. So we look forward to seeing you all at that event next month.
Thank you. Anything else? Great. Thank you very much. We'll see you next month.